The billion-dollar Amazon Henry Cavill's refusal to back down from opposing Amazon's diversity criteria and shutting down calls for female space marines is the reason why Warhammer Dream is on the verge of disintegrating. Fans of the gritty, real Warhammer heritage are being protected by Cavill, but here's the thing, this isn't just a show. A whole cinematic universe is on the brink of collapse. Could Henry's fearless defiance bode disaster for Amazon's ambitions, or is he the hero that Warhammer sorely needs? Let's begin this titanic struggle for the soul of the franchise. Henry Cavill has caused a significant confrontation with Amazon, severely undermining their aspirational Warhammer 40,000 aspirations. The issue many fans see Amazon's contentious effort to change the franchise's beloved backstory in order to conform to contemporary trends as needless, but Henry isn't giving up. This isn't just a fight over one program. From the outside, Amazon appears to have everything planned out: a sizable intellectual property, a sizable budget, and a devoted fan base, but what's simmering beneath the surface is a tense conflict involving Henry. Amazon had plans for an entire cinematic universe centered around Warhammer, with the goal of making it their next blockbuster franchise. Amazon and the original developers of the franchise Workshop for Games, this is not only a creative dispute, rather it is a struggle for Warhammer's identity. Who will decide its destiny, and above all, whether the core of its grim, dark universe will survive this clash? Keep an eye out, since this is only the beginning. Yes, you do, but the core of the problem is with Amazon's content strategy. They use a formula that has worked well in other projects, such as representation quotas, predefined diversity standards, and overarching socially conscious narratives, while this playbook might easily fit into many Hollywood productions. Correct people, I don't necessarily think I am effusive about being loyal to the source material. Warhammer is a whole other beast. This isn't a world made for tidy, sterile narrative. In its disarray, Warhammer mythology flourishes, creating a grim, gritty, and unapologetic universe that has won over fans' hearts for decades. But here's where things get complicated. Amazon is working to make it more widely available in the hopes of replicating their success with other titles. Workshop for Games, after years of creating this special world and tenaciously defending its integrity, the gatekeepers of Warhammer mythology aren't backing down. The storylines of each faction and even the purposeful omission of certain figures like female space marines are ingrained in the mythos. They are not holes to be filled, but rather conscious decisions that define Warhammer identity. This clash of visions has led to a major standoff, with Henry Cavill standing firm alongside Games Workshop for fans. This is a pivotal moment in the fight for Warhammer soul. Amazon had high hopes of making Warhammer the next big thing, riding on the success of The Boys and Invincible, but they had a much grander vision of Warhammer 40,000 cinematic universe. Their plans were ambitious, to say the least, and to lead this massive undertaking, they brought in Henry Cavill. This move seemed ideal on paper because Cavill is not only a Hollywood actor but also a die-hard Warhammer fan, making him the perfect ambassador for the franchise. However, things didn't go as Amazon had hoped, and they probably assumed Cavill's involvement would ensure fan loyalty, but they underestimated the depth of Cavill's passion for the original material. Unlike many actors, Cav's commitment to maintaining Warhammer authenticity has put him at odds with Amazon's larger vision, causing a tremendous deal of tension between the two. Cav is a true fan who has spent years immersed in the lore, not just as a hobby but as a passion. For him, this isn't just another job, it's personal, which is exactly why he has become such a strong advocate for maintaining the Warhammer story true to its origins. Whether it's playing Total War Warhammer 2 or The Witcher 3 in his spare time, Henry Cavill is no stranger to immersive fantasy worlds. His obsession with Warhammer is so well known that he recently joked on Instagram. Cavill's involvement with the upcoming Warhammer 40,000 adaptation is not just another step in his career, it's a project that is deeply rooted in his passion for the universe. This is a venture that blends his personal commitment to the source material with his expertise in shaping cinematic narratives. His role as executive producer for Amazon's ambitious Warhammer 40,000 series is more than just a title, it reflects the trust the company has placed in him to preserve the core essence of the Warhammer franchise. His influence on the creative direction of this highly anticipated project could very well define the future of the Warhammer cinematic universe, especially considering the immense fan base that expects fidelity to the game's deep lore and grimdark aesthetic. Cavill's connection to Warhammer 40,000 goes beyond mere professional interest. For him, this is a passion project, one that involves not just overseeing production but shaping a narrative that stays true to the darker, more intense aspects of the Warhammer universe. He understands that Warhammer 40,000 isn't just a game or a franchise, it's a vast, intricately detailed world with a devoted following that demands authenticity and respect for the established lore. In the context of this adaptation, Cavill has become the guardian of that authenticity, ensuring that the vision remains loyal to the universe's grim tone and its deeply complex themes of war, sacrifice, and existential dread. Amazon's decision to make Cavill the executive producer speaks volumes about their confidence in his ability to navigate the delicate balance between honoring Warhammer 40,000's established legacy and making it palatable for a broader audience. However, Cavill is no average Hollywood executive producer. While many in his position might defer to the whims of the studio, Cavill has shown that he's not one to simply nod along and let others dictate the creative direction. His track record indicates that he is more than willing to stand firm on his vision, even if it means pushing back against powerful forces like Amazon. Clash between Cavill and Amazon is a key project dynamic. Reports have emerged of significant creative disagreements between the two, some of which are centered around Amazon's desire to introduce radical changes to the Warhammer universe. For instance, one of the most contentious proposals was Amazon's suggestion to include female Space Marines, a move that would fundamentally alter the established lore. Warhammer 40,000 has long adhered to a strict set of rules regarding the lore and the characters that inhabit it. The Space Marines, iconic warriors within the universe, are traditionally depicted as male, and the addition of female Marines would be a dramatic departure from the lore that fans have come to know and love. But it's not just the Space Marines that have caused friction. There have been suggestions from Amazon to introduce other characters and factions like female custodians that would similarly stray from the traditional portrayal of these characters. For Cavill, these changes were non-negotiable. He has reportedly rejected such alterations, arguing that they prioritize diversity quotas and socially conscious narratives over the integrity of the original material. This disagreement highlights a growing tension between the push for modern, inclusive storytelling and the need to preserve the authenticity of the Warhammer 40,000 universe. Cavill, to his credit, has stuck firmly to his belief that staying true to the source material is the most important factor in creating a successful adaptation. For many fans of Warhammer 40,000, this battle is crucial. They are acutely aware of how easily beloved franchises can be diluted or altered beyond recognition in the name of broader appeal. In many ways, Cavill's refusal to compromise represents a stand against the trend of modernizing or reinterpreting established IP as in ways that feel disconnected from their original essence. His stance is a reminder that while inclusivity and diversity are important, they should not come at the cost of the deep, carefully constructed world that Warhammer 40,000 represents. The creative clash between Cavill and Amazon serves as a microcosm of the larger debate within the entertainment industry: how to adapt iconic works of fiction without losing the spirit of what made them great. In the case of Warhammer 40,000, Cavill's determination to preserve the integrity of the source material may very well be the key to ensuring that the series resonates with both longtime fans and new viewers. This project, which has the potential to launch a cinematic universe of its own, will be closely watched not only for its fidelity to the Warhammer universe, but also for how it navigates the complex intersection of creativity, fandom, and modern social values. Cavill's leadership will likely shape the legacy of this adaptation for years to come, and the outcome of his ongoing battle with Amazon could determine whether this Warhammer 40,000 series becomes a triumph or a cautionary tale. He believes that the beloved universe of the series should not be altered needlessly for the sake of fans. Cav's dedication is refreshing because it's obvious that he's not just another actor looking to profit from a well-known IP. Rather, he's a fandom advocate working to keep Warhammer as true to its origins as possible. The world of Warhammer is a maze of rich lore and intricately woven factions that have been painstakingly designed over decades. The introduction of female custodians is a drastic departure from the universe's established foundation, and Henry Cavill has reportedly drawn a clear line in the sand that won't be compromised on Warhammer authenticity. If pushed too far, he's even hinted that he's willing to leave the franchise for Amazon. This circumstance is nothing less than a corporate horror. According to Agen, they have a deadline of December 2024 to complete a deal with Cavill and Games Workshop, the creative powerhouse that controls the Warhammer mythos and intellectual property, and they have pledged billions to the Warhammer brand. Amazon's grandiose ambitions for a Warhammer cinematic universe might be utterly derailed if they don't line up with both the Cavill and Games Workshops. Without such agreement, there would be no show and no movie. Since no grand integrated vision will ever be produced, why doesn't Amazon just take a backseat? Cavalry in reality, they are unable to. To start, they have promoted him as the series' executive producer and star, relying on his sincerity to energize the audience. Second, many fans remain hopeful for Amazon's Warhammer adaptation sans Cav because of his participation. Placing him at this point would be a logistical and public relations disaster, requiring a complete redesign of the creative vision and perhaps alienating the fiercely devoted Warhammer fanbase. Amazon would lose not just its top employee, but also the faith of an already doubtful audience. With so much at stake, Amazon's only realistic choice is to persuade Cavill to make a concession. Nevertheless, Henry has made it clear that he is refusing to back down due to Amazon's inclusion policies, which are comprehensive guidelines requiring productions to meet quotas for diversity and representation. While inclusivity and storytelling are frequently celebrated, Cavill feels that the distinctive, brutal world of Warhammer wasn't created to follow a pattern. Since the clock is ticking, it is unclear if Amazon will honor Cav's vision or if their push for change will mean the end of their Warhammer ambitions. His refusal to permit these changes stems from a commitment to maintaining the franchise's raw and unapologetic identity, a stance that resonates deeply with the fans who have cherished Warhammer for decades. Despite seeming progressive, Amazon's inclusion standards are posing serious challenges for Warhammer. The standards mandate that leadership teams achieve certain diversity requirements, which include reducing the proportion of women and minority persons by 30% and increasing it to 50% by 2024. They also mandate that casting decisions align character attributes with demographic quotas. This strategy doesn't fit in with the Warhammer gritty, lore-heavy universe where every detail has been painstakingly created over decades. For Henry Cavill, this isn't just about representation, it's about maintaining the integrity of the Warhammer story. Fans aren't here for concessions, they're here for the dark, complex world they love, and Cav's dedication to preserving that has set the stage for a high-stakes game. Showdown with Amazon fans are free to view as they choose, but you will never be the precise person they imagined or the character they portrayed in Witcher 3, for instance. I don't necessarily think it's poisonous. I just think that Henry Cavill is a passionate producer who doesn't just obey the rules to stay out of trouble. There should be more than a list of social messages in Warhammer. From the beginning, Drew is drawn to the grim reality of the harsh, dark universe. If Amazon persists in promoting alterations like female space marines or inclusive custodians that don't fit with the original mythology, Gav's defiance of Amazon's diversity demands may be what saves Warhammer. His supporters will help him fight back. Henry is fighting to preserve the legacy of the Warhammer franchise, which has existed since the 1980s. Amazon's attempt to bring new demographics into the universe is failing, and Cavill isn't cooperating. It's possible that Amazon misjudged how committed Cavill is to upholding the franchise's integrity, and if they want to keep him on board, they'll have to agree with his vision as long as Cavill is in charge. Fans of Warhammer may anticipate a genuine experience. Not another Hollywood reskin. Fans are thrilled, but their enthusiasm hinges on Cavill's dedication to the beloved Warhammer universe. If Amazon presses too hard, they run the danger of losing Cavill and offending a whole devoted fan base. The issue still stands: will Amazon put spreading a message ahead of adhering to the canon?